JavaScript's common mistakes. Avoid accidentally using the assignment operator. JavaScript programs may generate unexpected results if a programmer accidentally uses an assignment operator instead of a comparison operator in an if statement. So let's look at some scenario of how that can be a problem. Now, if I have this as my variable, and I'm doing comparison, I'm saying if x equals to 10. Now, if you look at this, you can see that there's already a syntax error, return not a function. Let me refresh. Which means that what I'm asking for is not part of this function. Even though it's not function, I'm just using an if statement. Or better still, I want to reframe this. Let x equals to 0. You can see x is 0, but that's not what I want to do. So I want to check for true or false for this number, whether x equals to the value of 10. Now this return false because x is not equals to 10. So this is one way to avoid accidentally using the assignment operator. Now let's look at another example. I want to remove one of the comparison operator to see if the values equal. And now look at this now. You can see that this is telling me that x is equals to 10. Meanwhile, the value of x is what? Is 0. It does not equal to 10. So these are one of the surprises. It returns true. Maybe not as expected because 10 is true. So it just returns that value to you directly. And now, finally, if we now equate this to 0, x equals to 0, let's see what happens. Now you can see this return false. Maybe not as expected because 0 is false in JavaScript. But looking at what we have here, this is 0, this is 0, this is supposed to return true, but instead it will return false. Why? Because the type of 0 is false. 0 equates to false in JavaScript and 1 equates to true. So you can see the reason why this result is being returned. An assignment always return the value of the assignment, not check in values in type. Now let's move on and look at expecting loose comparison. In regular comparison, data type does not matter. When you are doing a regular comparison, data type does not really matter much. So this is what I'm saying. So I have this variable here as the value of 10, and I have another one in form of string. Let y equals 10. Now let's check whether x equals to y. And what can you see? You can see true. So this statement is not true because in regular comparison, data type does not matter. But in strict comparison, it matters. If I add one more to this, to do strict comparison, you see it return false because a number does not equal to string in data type. That is the reason why you can see false. So it's a common mistake to forget that switch statement also use street comparison. Let's look at this example. Now, look at this. You can see that hello is being returned. Actually, this will work. And do you know why it will work? It is because if you forget that switch statement use street comparison, then there will be problem. Because by default, this switch statement does not need this equal street comparison. By default, it is what it uses under the hood. And so when it compares this value and this value, it sees that it match in type and in value. Then that is the reason why it returns hello, as you can see. Let's continue and talk about confusion, addition, and concatenation. Addition is about adding numbers, concatenation is about adding string. In JavaScript, both operations use the same plus operator. Because of this, if you add a number and a number, if you add a number as a number, it will produce a different result from adding a number and a string. So what am I saying in essence is this. So let x equals to 10. And then you now add it. X equals to 10 plus 5. Let's check x. Now you can see 15. But by the time you try to add a string, a number and a string, it will give you something different. You can see we are saying 105 instead. So that is the reason why you should be careful to avoid confusion when concatenating. So what we are doing here is concatenating. What we did initially was addition, but both made use of this plus sign as the concatenating operator that is needed. When you add two variables, it can be difficult to anticipate results. So you have two variables like this, then let y equals 20. So let's say x plus y. You can see this. You can see 30 as the output. But if one of them is a string, 20. Now let's take a look. You can see that this has changed the narration. So adding numbers in JavaScript and doing concatenation can cause confusion. And this is an important part where one should be very, very careful when working with strings in JavaScript and when working with number, especially when it comes to mathematics, computation, addition, or concatenation.